Hi, everyone. Today I'll introduce a new node called Call Flow until success. You can find it in the Flow category. Call Flow until success continuously calls a subflow that we specify until that subflow returns success. It keeps executing until it succeeds, reaches the attempt limit, or reaches the time limit that we set. Let me demonstrate it. First, add this node. In Parameters, select the same subflow that we used before. Then, click Save. Now, connect the nodes together. At this point, it will execute only once. Let's run it. It enters the subflow, runs once, and then finishes. Why? Because this subflow returns success by default. In other words, success is its implicit return status. A flow can also return an explicit result. For example, select Return Flow. It returns success or failure from the current flow. After creating it, Return Status provides two options, success and failure. Let's add both. Duplicate the node and change the second one to failure. First, connect the success return. This flow runs from entry to swipe. After swipe finishes, Return Flow explicitly returns success. Now, run it again. It still finishes after one execution because the subflow explicitly returns success. Disconnect that return and connect the failure return instead. The sequence is now entry, swipe, and then an explicit failure return. Call flow until success ends only when the subflow returns success. If the subflow keeps returning failure, this node keeps calling it. Let's test it now. Click Run. The subflow keeps returning failure, so the screen keeps swiping without stopping. You can see that the subflow is being called repeatedly. Let's stop the profile manually. The profile has stopped. Now, let's look at the other two parameters. The first is max attempts, which controls how many times you want the node to try. When that limit is reached, the node stops and completes even if the subflow has not returned success. Set max attempts to 3 and test it again. 1, 2, 3. It returns after 3 attempts. Another parameter is timeout milliseconds, which sets the time limit. It controls the maximum amount of time that call flow until success can run. When the timeout is reached, the node ends and completes, whether the subflow returns success or failure. For example, set it to 6,000 milliseconds, or 6 seconds. Notice that interval milliseconds is not the subflow's total execution time. The subflow's total time includes swipe and all of its other actions combined. Let's see whether 6,000 milliseconds is enough for it to run twice. One, two, three. It can run 3 times. Now make it longer and set it to 10,000 milliseconds. One, two, three, four. Then it finishes. Within 10,000 milliseconds, it made 4 attempts. This node is very useful. For example, you may want to monitor the screen and click a button when it appears. That is a situation where you would use this node. You may use call flow until success extensively as your profile becomes more complex. We often need to keep monitoring the state of the entire screen. When state 1 appears, perform one action. When state 2 appears, perform another action. Those states must be monitored continuously to achieve the automation that we want. That's all for today. Call flow until success is a very important node.